evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Same Old Arsenal podcast, 4 Men and a Mic edition. Hope you are all well. I'm sure everyone has been refreshing Twitter feeds like I have for the past hour and a half. The meeting has just finished. Well, I say just finished, about half an hour ago. The fans forum meeting is finished with Josh Kroenke and obviously members of the fans forum. And some quite interesting questions been fired at him and some quite interesting answers that have come back. Before we get into that, introduce my guest for this evening. Tanner, how are you, sir?
Very well, sir. Thank you very much for having me on the show this afternoon. Looking forward to getting into it. And yeah.
Not a problem, mate. Not a problem. The obligatory. What time is it in America?
1 p.m.
1 p.m.
Early afternoon over here.
Early afternoon.
And
6 o'clock.
Bloody cold for the end of April.
Yeah. It's cold here and all. 6 o'clock over here in the evening, of course. You wouldn't catch me up at 6 o'clock in the morning, not like you mad bastards over there. Chris, how are you, sir?
As I said to Dan yesterday, I refuse to be called Chris anymore. I'm now legacy fan number 1350980. And that's just to repeat that, legacy fan 1350980. I do not have a name. I'm doing all right.
I have got a pen. Right, I'll just call you legacy fan. How's that?
Aren't we all?
Dan, how are you, sir?
I've been very busy. I've been around the bins at the back of Tesco's getting shitty bits of cardboard to write shitty messages on because I'm only half-heartedly doing it. So Tanner's gonna sort me out with some WWF style signs.
What's on your one? Kroenke, can you leave, please?
Yeah, some sweet chin music. That's what I'm going to give him. I'll show him the error of his ways. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. You?
Good. Yeah, sure, I'm all right, except for my back, but we've already spoken about that. I could tell the story, but I won't.
Not again.
That's for a different podcast. Chris, sorry, legacy fan 1384569.
Yes,
the fans forum has been done. What is your first reactions to it?
Absolute PR fluff, trying to salvage what frankly an unsalvageable situation. We've heard soundbite after soundbite. We have no intention of selling. I mean, that's probably the soundbite that depresses us all the most. Mm-hmm. We've made big plans to invest. You mean like the previous, 9 years or 10 years that you've been at the club and the investment you've made? We've never had the trust of the fans, but we will rebuild. You've never had the trust of the fans. You can't build something that hasn't even got the foundations in place, mate. On the ESL as well. Next time we'll consult with fans. Oh, you mean the engagement of the fans that you've done previously up until this point?
Yeah, that's right.
Some token statements on the official site, or Josh Kroenke telling us 2 years ago to be excited. Was this what we were supposed to be excited about?
Yeah, I know. The best one for me is, sorry now while I look at it because I have it written down. We haven't engaged with the fans because of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's my best one. That's my favourite one. Like, have you never heard of Zoom? Have you never heard of YouTube? Have you ever heard of Twitter? Have you ever heard of Facebook?
That's why
get yourself an account
in the last year.
Yeah,
because of the pandemic, I can't get.
Yeah, you can't do it just in case you touch the screen and you get COVID.
That's it.
Get yourself a Twitter account, Josh.
Yeah.
Do you know? There you go. Done. Communicate. That's all it takes. Do you know? Just a bit of communication. So that's my favourite one. Also, we believe we are fit to go forward. We were put in a difficult situation by sources outside the club. But you are what? Tanner, what? Try to help me fathom what he means by that, please. Because
I'll say this: the more that I read from these comments that Perez makes, the president of Real Madrid, I start to think that they may have been the driving force behind this. That the Spanish clubs really may have been the driving force behind this. That the the Americans, when all this was first announced, I legitimately said to myself, this is the American owners in England pushing this forward because it's a wholly American sports league system format. This is what they're looking for. But the more that I hear from Perez, I'm starting to think that Barcelona and Madrid were the driving force here. And when you look at how much they're in debt, that tells you a lot in my opinion. But now everything that Josh said today is nothing more than reading from the same script that every player gets when they get to a professional sports club, franchise, team, whatever you want to call it. Okay, when you go in front of the media, here's the list of things that you say. Hey, tell us about your 2 goals today. Oh, well, it was a great team effort. The boys played real well defensively, blah, blah, blah. It's straight out of the PR playbook. And how do you rebuild something that was never built in the first place? To be fair, you say that you recognize this was the Peter. He's everybody would recognize his name if I said it. I know his first name is Peter. Because you said you have betrayed our trust, but let me be very clear: we have never trusted you or KSE. How will you try to improve your relationship with fans? I want to get back to London. I want to do this. I am aware we never had trust. We need to build a bridge. We will. Okay. So you've had now 15 years to do this. Why all of a sudden now are you deciding that now is the right time to try to build a relationship with fans, with the supporters? And let me be very clear. I said this on Tuesday during the Same Old Arsenal USA show. The Kroenkes are good owners of American sports teams. They don't understand the European football model well enough to be good owners over there. Their clubs over here in America are successful. They're competitive, and they're run well within the structures of the American leagues that they exist in. But over there, they're trying to do what they do here over there. It's just not going to work. And I cannot. I've defended these guys for a long time. Maybe it's because I'm American, they're American. I want to see it work. No more. No more. Sorry, went on way too long.
No, not at all, mate. Not at all. That's what we're here for. Danny, after the questions and answers had finished, I kind of sat back and said, do you know what? There were some good questions in there. Perhaps there was not enough questions as well. There was, I think, some people might have missed a trick with some questions. I've come away from that thinking to myself, and this is just my opinion, that hopefully he's gone away and has got to do a lot of thinking and has got to do a lot of realizing about who he is and who he owns. And also that, am I mad in thinking that this Super League announcement might just be, or the Super League announcement and the way it crumbled and the way now that the Kroenkes are now public enemy number one, could this be a little bit of a little blessing in disguise that it happened?
No. No, I don't think so. This whole thing reminds me. Remember a few years ago, thank you very much for your inquiries about our business or your concern about our business. There was some quote like that.
Thank you for your interest in our affairs.
That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
That's it's oh, there you go. Something that Akil asked them. Akil, who was at it's the number 1, the number 0, AKHIL on Twitter. Go and give him a follow. He's just hit 20,000 today. Well done. He's brilliant. He says this quote from him: "Do you not understand English football? You do not interact with the fans. You have no clue. English football is clearly not for you. You should leave." That's what he said to them. For me, that sums it all up. And the friend of all of ours, Sophie, said they ripped the heart out of St. Louis when they moved the Rams. They give zero, well, she's put zeros, but she means 0 fucks about the Colorado Rapids and the Denver Nuggets. Why care about Arsenal? That sums up how I think
it's going. Yeah, fair comments.
Nothing's going to change because why would it? He's not here in the first place. Like Tanner was suggesting, if it's an American team, then he's going to be around them. We can put more pressure on because he's an American and an American team and living in the country. Over here, he can just go, what's that? They're not happy. Oh, let them eat cake. I'm busy. Yeah. That's it. That's what he's going to do. No fucks are given. And he's just going to come out with platitudes the entire time and go, yeah, poor you. Oh, yeah, we'll. That's like the government where they go, yeah, lessons have been learned. Fuck off, have they? No.
Yeah. Okay, Dan changes my mind there in an instant about the way I feel about that. So, Legacy fan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
You can call me Chris now.
All right. Yeah. Obviously, that bridge, the bridge is burnt. There's no. I mean, he talks about coming back, and he's going to build it, and he wants to come back to London, and he wants to build bridges, and he wants to be here for the fan base, and he wants to go to more fans forums, and this, that, and the other. It's just a load of PR fluff. It's what we want to hear, isn't it? As an Arsenal fan, some Arsenal fans will, like me, other than about 10 seconds ago, would have sat back and gone, "Oh, great! Oh, he's actually thinking about us, and he might actually do something." The odds of the Kroenkes actually doing something is slim to none, isn't it? I mean, I don't see why they're holding on to us anymore, because it's quite obvious that this European Super League has been in the wings now for God knows how many years. Years and years and years and years. He knew what he was doing. He bought us because he wanted to put us in the European Super League and make billions. Billions and billions out of Arsenal just by us going into this European Super League. But now what's happened is we're the broken piece of his chessboard now. He can't play chess with us anymore. We're broken. That's it. Done. Gone. See you later. Why bother hold on to us anymore? I think, and I hope I'm right. I hope that the Josh Kroenke stuff is all, as you said, a load of PR fluff, a load of rubbish, and that they are going to sell because we're worthless to them now. Arsenal Football Club is worthless to the Kroenkes now. What is it that we offer them now? We're not going into no European Super League. They can't make billions out of us. Why wouldn't they want to sell us?
Oh, that's an interesting one. So I wouldn't quite call us worthless because, and let's use your chess piece analogy. Imagine if you've got like a chess piece which is from the Ming Dynasty or something like that, and you've got a couple of broken bits, it's still going to fetch a tidy sum. And the older that it gets, the more it appreciates. What worries me more than anything else is that I fully believe that this is platitudes that they're trying to deliver and that they will do nothing. They will, be excited. 2 years ago, we're coming up to bollocks. Sorry to say that, but that's absolutely bollocks. My view is that they're looking at this and thinking, we've fudged this big time, but if you only have to look at what some of the other teams are saying. So Joan Laporta, who's the Barcelona guy, he's come out today and said the European Super League is an absolute must. So this isn't off the table. All we've done is we've kicked the can down the road a little bit. And so the Kroenkes are thinking to themselves, well, let's think about this. We have not had to invest any of our own money into the club. The club is worth 2.8 billion. And our share price has increased by about 400 million, depending on who you read and stuff like that. Providing that we don't get relegated, this club will still keep ticking over, and we'll keep our connections to. And it's clear that he's made these connections with the Spanish clubs as well. We'll keep our connections close to them, because when it does become round to the next iteration of let's have a closed NFL-style shop, but in soccer, then that's exactly what they'll go for. Sorry, Tom. I know it's not.
Don't worry, Chris. None taken.
So, what do we make then of Mikel Arteta's? Mikel Arteta was asked, has Josh Kroenke, Tanner, I'll come to you on this one. Has Josh Kroenke, has Stan Kroenke been in contact with you? Mikel Arteta says, yes, they've rung, they've apologised to me, we move on. What do you make of that?
Mikel Arteta has a job to do. It does not involve, what league are we going to compete? What league could be created next year that we can compete in, things like that? Actually, I think, Mikel Arteta is brilliant in the fact that he created on his own and got 11 other clubs involved a European Super League to detract from the fact that we drew Fulham 1-1 at home last weekend. Absolutely. Look, if that doesn't tell you that he's excuse me, the man for the job, then I don't know what'll convince you. I kid. He has a job to do. It's that simple. And the players have a job to do. And that job is on the pitch. And I think from his standpoint, I can't change I can't change the outside noise. I have to focus here, and we have a job to do here because there is still an opportunity to qualify for the Champions League next year if we win the Europa League. In a worst case scenario, we need to continue to play for a higher position in the domestic league. Number one, for more money. Number two, in the hopes that we could secure at least another year of Europa League competition for the money. So I don't look too much into Mikel Arteta's comments because at the end of the day, he didn't have a say in the club moving into this Super League, and he has to focus on his job at hand. He can't be bothered with these things off the pitch. So
yeah. I think a lot of people. I mean, me and Lee went on an Everton channel earlier this afternoon, and I think I might have upset him a little bit because he was talking about the Super League, and he was talking about, what do you guys think about Arsenal's inclusion in this, and what did it mean for how do you feel about the other 14 clubs not being too happy about it. So to which my response was, well, hang on a minute, if you're bored. If Everton were invited into the Super League, you'd have been there with us. Oh, no. Our board said that we weren't going into that. I said, it's very easy to say that now. Now you've seen the reaction and now you've seen the repercussion. Very easy for a fella to come out the day after and go, cool, no, we wouldn't have had none of that. People have got to realise it's nothing to do with Mikel Arteta. It's nothing to do with the players. This is nothing to do with, how can I say this properly? Well, no, it's got nothing to do with Arsenal Football Club. It's got everything to do with the greedy bastards that are running us. And it's as simple as that. I mean, Danny, the players have been apologised to by Vinay yesterday. I mean, what must they be thinking, the players? I mean, Arteta says that they've been apologised to and they're all on board and they're fully focused on tomorrow night's game. What must they be thinking to think that they've got owners, and Arteta, to be honest with you, that they've got owners that would try and sneak them in a back door to put them into a competition that they know nothing about? How are the players feeling about all this, do you think?
Well, you're right about Everton. With isn't Mashiri and Usmanov involved with Everton? Exactly.
And they've just built a new ground as well. 1 year's participation in the European Super League pays for their stadium. So please don't tell me any other club, I don't care if it's Brighton, Villa, anyone in the league, if your chairman is offered £350 million a year for 22 years, you're going in.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter who you are, you're going in.
They're all similar owners. West Ham would have done it. I think that most of the clubs there would have done it. There's very few clubs at the top level that are owned by the likes of Sir Jack Walker of Blackburn. He would have said, I'm not doing that. Yeah. Anyway, Bellerin did a tweet, didn't he? And Bellerin said that he wasn't happy about it. I think Henderson, the Liverpool captain, he's done a tweet about it. Ian Wright is more often than not a voice for the Arsenal fans. He's come out and he's disgusted. And Charles Watts today was someone asked him, will Arsenal cut their ties with Ian Wright because of Ian Wright's what he's come out and said about it? I think everyone has just realised, everybody who wasn't sure about how this club is just used as a cash cow, or no, as to fluff his portfolio of stuff that he owns. That's what it's there for. He used loans to buy the club, and so it's not like he's gone and used his hard-earned cash like someone who's come up through. Worked their ass off all their life, saved up enough money and bought a club, and they've invested their own money into it. It's not. We're just a commodity for him. And if anybody was unsure about that, you are now. And Arteta and the players must look at that and go, he hasn't consulted us at all, because Arteta, I mean, even Jurgen Klopp had no idea. And when you've got a manager who's turned your club back into one of the best teams in the world in the last few years and won the Champions League and won the Premier League and going to go on and probably win some more stuff, when you haven't even had I mean, maybe you could understand them not saying anything to Arteta because he's been manager for, 18 months? He's very new to it all. He was only put in because I think he was the cheap option, the easy option, and maybe they'd buy some favour with the fans by putting him in. But when you've got other managers that are going, I knew nothing about this, it's just shows the contempt that the people have for the people who love the club. They don't care. They don't care about any of their stuff. At the moment, Sophie's having a disagreement with Michael from You Are My Arsenal about the state of the clubs at the moment, and Michael is saying that they are in quite a good position, the Nuggets and Colorado, and she's saying, well, for years they've been rubbish and had no investments. I know Andy from the Gooners pod, he's a Colorado fan in MLS. Well, they're his local team. But it's just the whole thing is I kind of get the feeling that this was all a little bit rushed. You know, like someone has the newspaper go, I've got pictures of you riding naked on a horse through the high street, and you go, well, you either come out and tell everyone you were doing it, or we're going to do it. For all the clubs to announce this, just as we got 4 clubs in the 8 European semi-finals, 4 English clubs are in there. All of those clubs are the ones that are going to do it. I wonder if someone forced their hand or something got out, because all they did was have one poxy website. I mean, we could have knocked up a better website than they have. It's nothing special. But why announce it now? That's what I want. That's what the whole thing about it. Something's not right. I still think there's more to come out about what's happened.
I think this is absolute money. This is land grabbing for me, and this is COVID. This is why it's despicable, because they've seen an opportunity through COVID to actually take advantage of this. That's my genuine gut feel. Just to touch on a bit before go back to you, Craig, that Everton fan that was saying about that, I do find it interesting that all of these other clubs are talking, the 14 other clubs are talking like that. If you recall Project Big Picture, which was last year, one of the parts of Project Big Picture was, I believe, a bigger fund, a bigger pot for the EFL clubs. Yes. So a bit more of a distribution. And all of the 14 other Premier League clubs, or most of the Premier League clubs, voted against that. They're all self-serving their own interest. They're all self-serving their own interest because they want to snaffle up as much money as possible. So if any fan from any club thinks that their club owners wouldn't say, we'll take all of that money, then they're wrong. However, let me just be clear. This is not me trying to legitimize what KSE have done. If anybody who knows me and read any of the stuff or heard me talk about them in the recent years, I have not trusted them from day one. I've wanted them gone for a long, long time. But I'm just kind of backing up, I guess, you there, Craig, that, you know, Everton as a collective and the owners, you know, they were the ones that voted down this Project Big Picture as well, because they want to keep as much revenue at the top table as possible.
There you go. I mean, does anybody else find it funny that all 6 dropped out at the same time? All 6 clubs dropped out at the same time. Does anybody find it funny that
they're all in contact with each other? Though,
of course they are. You know, I mean, the only clubs it doesn't affect, in the sense of backlash and fan backlash, for me, is Chelsea and Manchester City. Now, I know we saw a load of Chelsea fans out there protesting about the European Super League and all this business. But if you actually sit down and think about it, Chelsea and Manchester City fans have still got nothing to worry about, because they've got a fella who is ready to buy Harry Kane for 200 million if the chance arises. 200 million, is it? Oh, no problem. There's 205. Keep the 5 for yourself for your troubles. you know... That this kind of Manchester City and Chelsea can go out and buy anyone they want. So for me, the 2 clubs that actually put the spanner in the works would make sense that it's Manchester City and Chelsea. They actually took a step back and went, well, actually, you know, this is causing a bit of a stir. Do we really need the money? No, we don't really need the money. We'll probably just pull out of this, I think, don't you? I wouldn't be surprised if UEFA have put brown envelopes under the door. You know, there you go, son. Have that, pull out of this, will you? You can have that cash, keep it. No, I don't want to know anything about it. I don't know where it came from. It just landed there. It's got your name on it. It must be yours. This kind of thing, you know? I find that quite strange. That they all dropped out. Boom, 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 one after the other. Yet Barcelona stayed in it, Real Madrid stayed in it, Inter Milan, Juventus stayed in it until a couple of days later. I don't know. Tanner, where does it leave Arsenal then in the league? We're obviously going to have to come under some punishment. Whether this punishment is that they relegate us, whether this punishment is that they stop us from playing European football. Are they going to deduct us 50 points? We have to face the consequences. Unfortunately, this is the thing that's unfortunate to us as the fans, unfortunate to the players, unfortunate to Mikel Arteta. They are the ones who are going to have to. They're the ones that are going to have to face the facts and deal with the consequences.
Yeah, realistically, I think the only thing that can realistically be done here is some sort of a fine that the Kroenkes will have to pay. I will say,
sorry to come across you there. He has said today at the fans forum that all costs, that has been come from it will be covered by Stan Kroenke or him or whatever. Yeah. No cost to the club whatsoever.
And they'll just take out whatever the value is on consultancy fees.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries. Somewhere there has to be language written into the agreement between the clubs and the Football Association, the Premier League as a separate entity with something like this. They're not going to be able to just make it up as they go. So if the language is written in that, hey, if you decide that you're going to play in an unsanctioned competition, well, is it the decision to play in the unsanctioned competition, or is it actually physically playing in the unsanctioned competition? So if it's, well, we never played in an unsanctioned competition, we agreed to move forward with it, but we never actually did it. So what ramifications does that really hold? And if the Premier League, if the FA, if UEFA, any of these governing bodies decide to come in and hand down a punishment that the clubs feel, because mind you, it's going to be all 6 clubs. It's not going to be, well, we're going to do this to Arsenal. We're going to do this to City. We'll do this to Chelsea. We'll do this to United and so on. I think the scum have been punished enough. They can never be punished enough. But let's face it, everybody laughed at them. All the jokes being out there. With those lot. But no, I punishment wise, I'll be honest, I'm not sure there's going to be any punishment because I'm not sure there's any legal ramifications that the governing bodies of football have at this point. And if they try to lay something down where there's no language written in for, then the club can just simply take them to court and say, you can't do this to us. So that I just don't see I don't know what language, if any, is written in. So at this point, I will say this. If the 6 clubs were relegated, that's a death sentence to the Premier League, an absolute death sentence. I mean, it just television money will, exactly. That just messes with the entire system for the next decade or more. Finding them seems to be the most realistic option. Perhaps transfer bans for the next 3 seasons, 5 seasons.
That won't affect us.
Yeah, exactly.
Chelsea pensioners are going to be gutted. They ain't got a retirement home to come to.
And City will just fight it in court and pay off the judge, and their transfer ban will be lifted. But
they'll get compensation.
yeah, exactly. So punishment.
Yeah, I'm with you. On that. I don't think they can take us. I don't think they can take the big 6 out of the league. It will just be like Tanner says. It will just cause ramification for year upon year upon year. But I mean, no disrespect to the rest of the league, but no one's going to sit down on a Sunday afternoon, crack open a beer to watch Burnley and Leicester. That's no disrespect to Burnley and Leicester. You need Arsenal, Man United, Manchester City, Chelsea, Liverpool, and that other lot. Probably not so much them in the league, to make it watchable. Again, with Europe, I mean, would they dare take those clubs out of Europe? Okay, you've still got your PSGs, your Barças, but would it really be what it's been all these years without the English clubs. Dan, it's fair to say, mate, that Mikel Arteta has probably had to put up with more at Arsenal Football Club in the last 18 months than anything that's ever happened in our club for the last 20 years.
It's true. I mean, if you were playing Football Manager and it came up world pandemic, and then your most expensive players are going to not play, and then they're going to get injured, and then the little note comes up on Football Manager. By the way, your club has decided to leave the football and the Premier League, and you're going to go and play in the European competition with no money, with players that can barely cope in the Europa League. We're going to go and play in the with 10 of the best teams in the world, and well, not 10 of the best, because the Germans and the French didn't want to have anything to do with it. So yeah, so it's going to be an interesting book if he ever writes it. With what's happened and all that. Like, I thought the point about what's going to happen to the clubs, if you've got two ways to look at this. The FIFA, I mean, the Premier League have gone FFP. We can't enforce that because we can't afford the lawyers, and they lost face with that. And then it's going to come, what are we going to do with this lot? If they don't do anything, then they're going to be the laughing stock, because then they've got Man City. Man City are the biggest power in world sport, I would imagine. They've got more money than any other club. And if you try and put sanctions against Man City, you're going to lose. If you do nothing, you're going to lose. They're in a no-win situation. So you've got to go and do what's going to take the less damage to you. So maybe I think the only thing they can do is a fine. They can't deduct points. If you find a team like Man City, they're not going to care, are they? They're going to go, would you like it in cash, or would you like it in saving stamps? That's the only thing they can do. But I think I would like maybe, because I'm a bit of an anarchist, I'd love to see them all relegated. But there again, next season, 3 are going to come up, so the Championship's for next year. But then if we put 6 down at the Championship, are they going to put 6 back up, or are they going to use this as an excuse to make the Premier League into 18 teams? I mean, that's going in an entire direction that's never going to happen. But I would relegate them all. That would teach them a lesson. But they wouldn't care. It's going to be money.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
One other option, and it's back to money, and it's laughable, but it is an option on the table. Your position, your final position in the league table dictates how much money you get from the league itself. They could just simply knock the 6 in whatever position they finish all the way down. So City, theoretically, instead of getting top dollar for winning the league, now all of a sudden they're getting the money in from 14th. Move everybody up.
About 2 million a spot.
Yeah, whatever it is. So everybody moves up. The 6 move down, whatever order they finish in. Unfortunately, we would be last in that situation at the moment. But that's something else that maybe could be done. And again, City, Chelsea, they laugh at this. It's just,
exactly. They don't give a shit. Okay. Yeah.
But it's another option that's on the table. Yeah.
You know, Chris, what would be your look at sanctions and punishments? What's going to happen? What's the best thing to do? You know.
Do you know what? I think what Tanner said is actually a really good idea, because it would hit them in the pocket. And all right, Man City and Chelsea would go a bit like meh, but all the other clubs would probably take a look. Maybe Man United as well, but the other clubs would probably be quite impacted by that, and it would probably keep the Wolves. It would probably keep the Wolves at the door in terms of the ire of the Premier League, other Premier League 14 teams. They'd absolutely love it. Can you imagine who would be top of that table? Dan, you did it, didn't you? Leicester would be top right now.
Leicester, West Ham,
Leicester, West Ham runners up.
Yeah, so you'd then have those teams. All right, West Ham, you haven't got. Let's say the league table finishes as it is right now. You've got Chelsea in 4th. You've got West Ham 5th. West Ham, you haven't managed to get Champions League, but you have got an extra. What's that? Like 6-8 million quid, because we're pushing you up the league. So, it would be a bitter pill to swallow if you're West Ham, but at least, or Leicester, but at least you're getting a bit of a kickback, and for those other teams you're getting punished. You can't dock points, because can you imagine if, again, let's take the league table as it lies now. Chelsea are in 4th. You dock them, I don't know, 10 points, and suddenly they're out of the Champions League and they're missing how many tens of millions, right? It doesn't impact Chelsea as much, but can you imagine the legal ramifications of Chelsea's lawyers going and saying, wait a second, you've essentially cost us tens of millions of pounds for something that hasn't happened, or just something that we essentially have just put on our website, because we haven't actually, like Tanner said, we haven't actually done anything. we said we were going to do something. It lasted 48 hours and we didn't do it. And you're telling me that we got to get kicked out. So, yeah, it doesn't work. I think it will be hit them in the pocket. I really love that idea, though, of hit them in the pocket like that. Don't just hit them with an arbitrary £1 million fine. Just drop all of drop all of them financially into the bottom six.
And let's also remember one other thing here, that the people that need to be punished are the owners, not the players, not the coaches, not even. I've seen people calling for Vinay, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, but you know who I'm talking about. I've seen people calling for Vinay to resign. I don't think he had anything to do with this. He's at the end of the day, unfortunately, he's just sort of the guy that's at the top of the Arsenal hierarchy that we actually get to see on a somewhat regular basis. I don't think anything should happen to him at all either. But if you start deducting points and changing places in the table and things like that, nobody's going to. That's not a punishment. That everybody's going to look at the table. But Manchester, they still won. They were the best team. They're the champions. They won the league. It is what it is. You can knock them down all you want on paper and just write it in. Well, they were up here, but now we're going to write them in down here. Hit them with the money. Let the final standings read the way the final standings are. Manchester City stay top, United stay second, Leicester third. Let the table read that way. But money-wise, you do something like what I suggested, because you can't punish the players. Number one, they had nothing to do with this. So I think it's unfair to punish the players in terms of league position and the way that the final positioning is perceived. That's just and maybe I'm nitpicking here.
No. I think that makes complete sense. Yeah,
the players all of a sudden, Arsenal players would all of a sudden like, wait a minute, we're the last place team in the league. Wait a minute, we didn't do anything wrong. And what did we do wrong? So
the Italians have a good idea what to do. Remember in 2005, Calciopoli, Juventus, Serie A champions, relegated them to the next division.
That's right.
Italy, France did it with Marseille. They relegated them to to Ligue 2, and even though they won the Ligue 2, they still didn't let them get promoted. They've in Italy, they relegated Parma back to Division 3. They're so strict. My team, Palermo, they were in Serie B, and they some kind of financial irregularities went on, and so they were meant to be relegated to Serie C, but they did their paperwork wrong, and so they relegated them to Serie D. So they don't fuck around with it.
The same's happened over here as well. My local club here, Cork City. Financial irregularities, gone. See you later. Relegated. No questions asked. Gone. Back down. Champions, double champions. Next season, found out, what's all this? See you later. Off you go. Took all their history away, took the club name away, everything. Right, if you want to start a new club in Cork, do. But as for Cork City FC, it's gone. Gone. Wipes them off. Now, there was legal ramifications to that, and supporters' trust came together, and this, that, and the other, and they got it all back. But Cork City had to start a new team. Basically, all the players had gone. They all left. They all got released because they couldn't afford the wage. There was no wage. There was no job. There was no company to work for. There was no team to play for. They had to start all over again. So when you look around the world and you see what's happened around the world, perhaps that should happen here. Who knows? Well, look, we just don't know what's going to happen, do we? We don't know what's going to happen. I'm just glad that Josh Kroenke had the balls to sit up in front of people and take some questions. Obviously, tomorrow is a big thing now. Tomorrow, the protest at the Emirates Stadium. I've been scrolling through Twitter today, and it looks like it's going to be a big one. It looks like it's going to be a big one. It looks like it's going to outdo the 10 that were outside Tottenham's ground yesterday. Singing songs and buying merchandise and coming out of the shops and going, why am I here again? So 6 o'clock tomorrow. I'm sure everyone knows 6 o'clock tomorrow. Get down to the Emirates Stadium if you can, and protest against Stan Kroenke. What more can we do except try and make our voices heard? While this has all been going on, go on, mate, go for it.
was going to say, do you know what makes me a little bit depressed? So Dan and I were talking yesterday about what impact does actually protest make, and I genuinely felt that at least we've got our voice. We've got our voice to be heard. Yes. Hearing Josh saying we've got no intention of selling. Now I know he can't say because he's going to devalue his asset. He can't say, yeah, actually, do you know what? You're right. We don't know what we're doing. So I've just stuck a big for sale sign outside London Colney in the Emirates. We'll take any bidders. You know, you'll get billionaires coming along saying, yeah, you've given us a bit. You've given us some broken cannons here, so we'll drop the price. He can't say that, but I don't know the fact that he's fronted up today. The fact that he said that, I actually worry that they're going to end up hanging on to this. That's my real worry.
Well, the way I look at it is this, right? Tomorrow is the only thing we can do, right? We can't do it in the ground because we can't go in. Now, for me, tomorrow is just the start of it. It's just the start of it. Once we're allowed back in the ground, that's when it really happens. You know, that's when things are going to happen. We as a fan base, right, have got to stop this thing of, oh, I don't like him because he goes on AFTV. Or I don't like him because he goes on this channel. I don't like him, he goes on that channel. No. Stop all that. Just for 1 second. Stop all that. You've all got one thing in common. Whether you don't like them or not, you support Arsenal Football Club, right? I'll stand shoulder to shoulder with anyone I dislike at this particular time for the good of the club. You've got to stop all this nitpicking. Yeah. I've seen it today on Twitter. Oh, why is it always AFTV that get interviewed? Because they're the biggest fan channel. They're the biggest non-media channel that represents Arsenal fans. And you might say, well, they don't represent me. That's fine. I get that. They don't. Just because they don't represent you doesn't mean they don't represent other people. Of course, Channel 4 are going to go to them. Of course, Sky Sports are going to go to them because they know that people are going to watch it because they're the biggest. No good Sky Sports coming to me or going to speak to someone who are not as big as they are. No point.
I don't even check the podcast emails, so they might have contacted me. Plus, I'm on there and I'd start effing and blinding the whole time.
You know what I'm getting at, right? It's time to unite. It's time to unite as a family, right? Now, yes, exactly. Also, what we've got to start doing and looking at what Liverpool done. Do you remember when Liverpool, when they tried to raise the tickets prices? And they done that protest where on the 75th minute or something, everyone got up and walked out. And in fairness to Anfield, I would say 90% of that stadium got up and walked out. And that's why it worked. Because the owners must have been going, shit, everyone's going home. What's going on here? And someone says, well, actually, they're walking out because you put the ticket prices up.
And that's a very powerful statement.
What? And it was. It was a massive statement, and it bloody worked. What about when I forget who it was we were playing in the Europa League? They said that they were going to wait outside for 10 minutes at a protesting the price of Europa League tickets. They all waited outside for 10 minutes. They all came in. It was noticed. The price of the tickets got dropped for away supporters. It worked.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that difficult.
The more the fan base is divided, the worse it gets, and it's not going to work. And ultimately, we won't get what we want out of it because of a divided fan base. Just unite for the common good of getting Stan Kroenke out. And once he's gone, you can go back.
Business as usual.
You can go back to talking about whether Mikel Arteta is the right man or not. You can go back about whether Gunnosaurus is a Tyrannosaurus or is he a Rhinoceros or whatever he is, right? You can go back to talking about that kind of thing. But just for the common good of the club, would we just unite, please, over this?
I think, I mean, at least based on what I've seen over the last, so we're talking, 72 hours now, 96 hours. I think a lot of people have now seen that, okay, the common enemy has exposed themselves now, and the common enemy is KSE. It is Stan Kroenke. I have not seen anyone actually in favor of him staying. That's not true because
But this is what I mean. This is when I said at the start, has this been a bit of a this because if this Super League thing hadn't have happened, we won't be having this conversation.
Yep.
This protest won't be happening. So that's what I mean by, is this like a little, is there a bit of a silver lining to all this? That it's awoken the fan base up to, hang on a minute, this geezer is really taking the piss out of us. Do you know?
I wish I lived in a city that he owned a team, because I would have organized a protest at that stadium as well. But I would have loved to have seen something happen in LA outside SoFi Stadium. You know, Arsenal, Los Angeles, get out there and look. If anybody from Arsenal LA is watching this, get out there and do your thing. Go down to SoFi Stadium in Englewood, get your signs, get your chants going, get out there and do it, because he'll see that. He'll see that, because then all of a sudden NFL Network will pick up on it. And NFL Network, wait a minute, why are people protesting outside SoFi Stadium? What's going? Wait, Arsenal. Well, what's this all about? Stan Kroenke Sports and Entertainment. Boy, they own Arsenal. These people are Arsenal supporters protesting outside. He must have done something bad to get people protesting out here, and then do it outside. Whatever it is in Colorado. It used to be the Pepsi Center where the Nuggets and Avalanche play, and protest outside there, because then all of a sudden you get the NBA TV picks it up, NHL Network picks it up, and now all of a sudden you have three major American sports leagues where he owns teams saying, well, why are all these Arsenal fans outside your American stadiums protesting? What did you do? What on earth did you do to these people?
Good point, that mate.
That they're protesting over here now.
Yeah.
So
bloody good point. Or we could ring up Vince McMahon. He don't like him. Have you got Vince McMahon's phone number?
Yeah. Actually, right. Yeah, I'll text him right now.
Text him and tell him what's going on, because he don't like him, does he?
Actually, Vince is a little older. He's not real up on smartphone technology, but I'm going to text Shane and Steph right now.
Oh, there you go. Do that then. Do that.
Triple H might hunt me down if I text his wife again. So
while this has been going on, we have got a game tomorrow night against the Toffees, against Everton.
On a fucking Friday.
On a Friday night. Imagine that. Friday night football.
For our convenience, Craig.
Yes.
Obviously.
Obviously. Now, I'm actually quite nervous about this game, but for the wrong reasons. I'm very nervous to see what kind of performance we're going to get from Arsenal, but I'm also a bit more concerned about, are Everton going to be 3 times more up for this than they would normally be, because of, you bastards, you were going to leave us behind. You were going to take all the money. So I'm a bit nervous about it, to be honest with you. I don't think they've beat. I think this is right. I think I saw a stat earlier to say that they haven't beaten us at home since 1996. Dan, you might clarify that for me. I think I might be right in saying that, but the fixtures haven't been all that great with Everton over the years. But Chris, while Dan's looking at that, a dangerous side, man. Calvert-Lewin back in the team. Andre Gomez coming back into the team. It's going to be a tough one.
It will be a tough one. I'll be completely honest, because of what's all that's happened this week, I don't really give, and because I think the league's pretty much done.
True. If you don't care about it, we won't talk about it. I was just trying to kind of.
I don't give too much of a monkeys about it. What I want to see is plenty of rotation, because all the eggs are in the Villarreal basket right now, and Unai Emery is rubbing his hands together. He's doing a proper Mr. Burns right now. He's sitting there saying excellent, because he's ready and waiting for a distraction more than anything else. So for me, what I want to see is I want to see a rotation.
When you talk about rotation, don't you think, like with Lacazette out now, Aubameyang out, we're going to have to see some form of rotation, but I don't want to see too much, because I think Arteta might use tomorrow to have a look at the team that he wants to play Villarreal next week. Lacazette being out, Aubameyang being out, surely the front four is going to be Saka on the left, Pepe on the right, Smith Rowe behind Martinelli. Surely to God, that is what we'll see tomorrow.
I don't know. I would love to see a bit of Balogun. Why not?
I would too. I would too. But
maybe Martinelli on the left.
When you take a player to a Europa League game and then come back, you take a player to a Europa League game, playing for 5 minutes, come back, draw 1-1 with Fulham, then in your press conference say that he had to play Lacazette because he didn't have the quality up front. He didn't have the players to give Lacazette a rest, and Balogun's not even on the bench. Playing Balogun. No, I don't think we'll see it. I don't know what goes on inside Arteta's head sometimes when people ask him.
We all told him, rest Lacazette. You've only got one fit striker.
We did.
He doesn't listen.
Well,
he doesn't watch the shows.
I have to say I was one of the ones that said I wanted him to play because I wanted to keep his form up.
Yeah, I think you said only half hour though.
Well, I did say 60 minutes to be fair.
I've put in our chat the Everton things. Last time we lost to them.
Was I right?
Think so.
Yeah.
Oh, so. I was. 20th of January 1996. We lost 2-1.
Knowledge.
Yeah, knowledge. And then before that, the 28th of March 1987, lost 1-0 at home. So yeah. Tanner, tomorrow, let's get a quick prediction from you before we go. We're running out of time.
Oh boy.
The sound of a happy Arsenal fan.
Yeah, that's it.
I have no clue. I have no idea. I swear to God, I have no idea on this. I will say that I do slightly disagree with the league. I mean, we are not that far off of European qualification. Europa League. The top four is done. But I do think there's still something to play for in the league. So I want to see at the very least as strong a side as he can put out. And yeah, we don't like the Friday game. But it is a bit of a blessing in disguise because we get a little bit more time off between games, not playing Sunday, then Thursday. So we get an extra day to rest. But hope against hope. It's the hope that kills you, as we say. But I'm going to go for a 2-0 Arsenal win. I don't know how. I don't know why. It's just the power of positive thinking, baby. That's all I got for you.
Dan, come on, son.
Well, if Everton fans were there, I would hope they would be chanting ESL scum, ESL scum. Whoa, whoa. Shame they're not going to be there because as much as
saying a bloody EDL rally, didn't it?
I know. I thought that after. as much as I don't like Scousers, I do quite like Everton fans, and they are full of the bants, as the youths today say. I'm just looking at Everton's away form. They lost away at Chelsea, and then before that they didn't lose again until the 1st of November away at Newcastle. Since then they've had 7 or 8 wins and 3 draws and 1 loss in the last 12 games. We've got no one up front. He's probably going to change the entire defence. He might give Matt Macey another run. I'm not confident of a win because Everton on their day, they've got some really good people up front. Calvert-Lewin, Rodriguez, even though it seems he didn't have the sex change that all the WhatsApp groups were saying that he'd had a sex change. Fucking hell. That's April for you. I could see us, if we're lucky, we get maybe a 1-1 draw, but I can see them beating us. Maybe 2-1. I hate to say it, but plus we're at home, which is always a disadvantage.
Yeah, that's very true.
Danny, for every reason that you just listed, we're going to have a blinder tomorrow. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Chris, it's going to be one of those games, I think, where we either win 3 or 4-0 or we get beat 3 or 4-0. That's what I'm saying.
Do you know what? I've got a feeling. I don't know why. 2-2 keeps popping up in my head. A good old Desmond. It keeps popping up in my head. I've got a weird feeling about a Desmond 2-2.
The last time I went to watch Arsenal and Everton, it was 2-2. Tomasz Rosicky scored an equaliser in the last minute, and there was a blizzard during the game. It was quite fun, actually. And I was sitting right next to the Everton fans, and I'll never forget it. There was an Everton fan on the rather large side, and he didn't like my banter. Let's just say that. He got quite annoyed with me. But unfortunately, that's the side of me when I've got about 8 pints of Carling extra cold into me before I went into the ground. Anyway, well, you see, I got the ticket off me, mate. You see, I didn't really know where I didn't really know where the seat was, so I'm kind of walking around the stadium. Block G, yeah. Went in, walked in, got me seat, and I was like, oh yes. Oh yes. I was literally, when you've been to the stadium or people who've seen it on the telly, where the white bar runs along to separate the away fans.
Oh God!
I was leaning on that. All right, boys. 8 pints of Carling in me. How's it going? It was a great day out. I'll never forget that one. So if you are watching, Mr. Large Everton supporter, my apologies. It wasn't me. I'm a really nice guy, really. It was just the lager that had overtaken
football fans.
Yeah. What a day that was. I remember that. We were in a bar up the road. I think it was over the road from the Eaglet down the road a bit. And we're drinking in this bar, and I was sitting there drinking me a pint of Carling ice cold. Don't know what number it was, but this petition comes in front of me on a clipboard, right? And I'll never forget it. In that handwriting on this petition, it said, "Dear guests, please sign this petition so I can have strippers in this pub on a Thursday night."
Classy pub.
Don't you love Holloway Road?
Just like, looking at it, going like, oh,
you still signed it though, didn't you?
Yeah, of course I did. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Now, did it specify female or male strippers?
Well, I don't know. I was going back to Ireland the next day, so I didn't care. But I signed it for him anyway. So yeah, what a day that was. What a day. The trains are broken down. I'll never forget it. Trying to get back from London to Clacton. Oh my God, what a day that was. What a day. I'll never forget it. But anyway, thank you to everyone who's watched us live this afternoon. It's really, really is much appreciated. Thanks for all the interaction in the chat. If you've liked what you've seen this evening, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, liking, retweeting, and all that jazz, you know what to do. Tanner, thank you very much, mate, for coming on. The host of the Same Old Arsenal Podcast USA, if anyone didn't know. Thank you very much, and for everything you do for us over the pond, mate.
Yeah, pleasure, man. Thank you.
You also do have your own endeavors, so where can people find you just on the YouTubes?
Just search Bearded Gooner Media on YouTube. You'll find me there. We are well on our way to 1,000 subscriptions if you find me. And if you could drop a subscription to the channel, I would greatly, greatly appreciate it.
There you go. Head over to BG Media, get over there and subscribe. Danny boy. Thank you very much for your time as always, mate. Much appreciated.
It's been a giggle. Thanks for inviting me.
Always a giggle. And Christopher, legacy fan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where can people find your fantastic blogs, and where can people follow you on Twitter?
Twitter is Suburban Gooner, and the blog is suburbangooners.com. Thank you very much.
Get over there. No, absolutely, mate. Thanks for your time. It's much appreciated. Get over there, support the lads who come on here and talk with me for an hour. So, yeah, it's on to tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a very interesting day around North London, especially around the Emirates Stadium. I'm sure we're all going to be glued to the TV to see what's going to be happening. I'm sure throughout the day there's going to be stuff on Twitter. I mean, I've even seen a geezer on Twitter doing a video panning over about 100 red and white flares that he's got ready.
The Arsenal Banksy or something
he's
like
got
that.
ready to go. So I mean, look, this ain't going to be no Spurs one where 10 people turn up and say, why ain't Chaz and Dave here? I think this one is going to be big. I think Arsenal fans have had enough now, and I'm standing by what I say. I think the European Super League, the way it's come about and the way it's left, has been a little silver lining for this club, because the Kroenke's guards are down, and for me, it's time to finish them off now. Finish them off. I'm not advocating them in any way. They've got to go. He's got to sell us. Like I said earlier on, we're of no importance to them anymore. We're the chess piece that's broken. No good. We're no good for them. Just get rid of us, mate. Sell us. Leave us alone. Go back to America and do your thing in America. Leave English football. Let someone come in who understands about football and understands what the fans want out of football. Just please. There's a lot of things. There's lots of things I want to say to you, but I can't. I want to try and a little bit professional here, but just sell us, Stan. Leave. Go, please. Until we see you again. Will probably be Monday night now because no team talk tomorrow because Dan's busy. So until we see you again, probably Monday night. Take care of yourselves and each other, and up the Arsenal.